Hello, and welcome to Miss Hope's Reading Hour on this wonderful Wednesday. Welcome, my friends. I'm so glad to be here with you today. Hopefully, you all have had a wonderful Wednesday so far. Hopefully, your Tuesday was pretty terrific. My Tuesday was okay, but I lost track of the days, y'all. I thought that Tuesday was Monday. It's like, wait a minute. It's like I was talking to someone on the phone and I was like, today's Tuesday? They were like, yeah, like all day. So I guess with us being home so much, I have been really good. Miss Hope has been really good with keeping track of the days. But yesterday had a little bit of what the young ones sometimes call a brain fart. Excuse my language. But had a bit of a brain fart and thought that Tuesday was Monday. But I got right back in to the swing of things and realized, no, today is Tuesday. But of course, I had to remember that today is a wonderful Wednesday because I got to be here with my friends, all of you, right? So it is now wonderful Wednesday here on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. And if you saw the teaser, we are talking about business, okay? We're talking about how you do business and how you run a business and how you got to do business with honest people and watch out for monkey business in business. So we will get to our books, but before we do that, let's give the disclaimer. This wonderful music that you will hear throughout Miss Hope's Reading Hour, the different music that you will hear, because it won't all be the same today, that you hear on Miss Hope's Reading Hour and the wonderful books that we will read today. Unfortunately, Miss Hope does not own the rights to them, but they are here for your listening and reading enjoyment. I am so glad to be here to share them with you all. One thing I want you all to know, one thing that Miss Hope likes, you know it, is mystery books. But another thing Miss Hope loves is music. That's why it always makes me so happy to find different types of music to play with our books, because Miss Hope loves music. Okay? Now, my friend, now that I think about it, I'm gonna have to find some more books about music, okay? Talking about finding books, if you look down in the ticker, let me change that, you will see probably by the end of this month, the Happy New Year will be gone, okay, in the ticker. But the more important thing that is in the ticker is information that you can use to donate books to Miss Hope's Reading Hour. You can donate via Cash App, or you can donate a digital gift card via our email address. Our email address is in the ticker. It is misshopesrh@gmail.com. You can send digital gift cards, or if you want to donate books by sending them to me, please send me an email. Let me know. I will let you know how to do that. Also, you can donate any amount via Cash App. The Cash App is Hope GM, HOPE all one word, all lowercase. And you can donate however much you like so that we can order more books for Miss Hope's Reading Hour. So Miss Hope is a little behind on ordering some books. A little behind, because just like you guys have virtual school, I have virtual school too. I'm going to college online, and I've been trying to get my assignments done. So after reading, I fall asleep and I'm like, oh, I didn't order the books. But trust me, I am going to order more. Please, my friends, do me a favor. If you watch Miss Hope's Reading Hour, please post on the Miss Hope's Reading Hour page on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Periscope, and let me know what kind of books you would like to hear right here on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. That would help me out a lot. If you have some favorites, some certain subjects you want to talk about or you want to hear about, let me know and I will find books about that, okay? Now, my friends, for today, let us get to the books we will be reading. So 2 of these, I believe, both of them may be classics. I know one of them is, but oh my goodness, yeah, I think so. Because I think both of these were written before I was even born, okay? So, 2 classic books. One of them has a classic character, another one's a classic book. It's celebrating 75 years of being a classic children's book. Our first one for today is called A Bargain for Frances. Called A Bargain for Frances. Okay, this book is by Russell Hoban, pictures by Lillian Hoban. And this is, who publishes this book? This is a HarperCollins book. A Bargain for Frances. I've been wanting to read this book, but trying to figure out what book am I going to read it with. Well, my friends, one of my new books that it's my first time cracking it open. Hello, Jocelyn. I'm so happy to see you. Happy New Year, babe. Haven't seen you in a while. All right, so our second book, celebrating 75 years. 75 years ago, kids were reading this book. Parents were reading this book with their kids. And look up here. What does that say? It's a Reading Rainbow book. This book is called Caps for Sale. A Tale of a Peddler, Some Monkeys, and Their Monkey Business. This book is told and illustrated. I'm going to try not to butcher the author's name. Esther Slobodkina. Esther Slobodkina. First of all, I like the name. I like the way it sounds when I say it. Esther Slobodkina. All right. So, Caps for Sale. And I believe this is a Harper Trophy. No, it's a HarperCollins book. Both of them are HarperCollins books. And of course, my friends, we have to get to Who Stole New Year's Eve. Waiting for some more clues. We found out some other things last time. We'll get to it. We will get to it. This book is by Martha Freeman. And this is a Holiday House book. All right. So, as you can hear, our tea time music for our tea time book, A Bargain for Frances. All right. This book was first published in 1970, before I was ever born, okay? A Bargain for Frances. It was a fine summer day, and after breakfast, Frances said, "I'm going to play with Thelma." "Be careful," said Mother. You'll find out why she needs to be careful. Why do I have to be careful? Said Francis. Remember the last time? Said Mother. Which time was that? Said Francis. That was the time you played catch with Thelma's new boomerang, said Mother. Thelma did all the throwing, and you came home with lumps on your head. I remember that time now. And do you remember the other time last winter? Said Mother. I remember that time too, said Francis. That was the first time there was ice on the pond. Thelma wanted to go skating, and she told me to try the ice first. Who came home wet? Asked Mother. You or Thelma? I came home wet, said Francis. What is this with this Thelma? Yes, said Mother. That is why I say be careful, because when you play with Thelma, you always get the worst of it. Well, said Francis, this time I do not have to be careful. We are not playing with boomerangs. We are not skating. We are having a tea party, and we are making a mud cake. Be careful anyhow, said Mother. All right, said Francis. Frances took her dolls to Thelma's house. She took her alligator doll and her elephant doll. She took her snake doll and her teddy bear too. As Frances walked to Thelma's house, she sang, "Alligators, bears, and me are very fond of drinking tea. The elephant and the wiggly snake are happy when they eat their cake." She seemed very happy to be going for tea. Frances and Thelma made a mud cake. They put daisies on it for frosting. Then Thelma got out her dolls and set her tea set. "I'm saving up for a tea set," said Frances. "I'm saving all my allowances." "This is the best kind to get," said Thelma. "It is plastic and it has red flowers on it." "That is not the kind I want," said Frances. "I want a real china tea set with pictures on it in blue. The tea set I want has trees and birds and a Chinese house and a fence and a boat and people walking on a bridge. I used to have that kind of tea set, but all I have now is part of the teapot. The rest of it is broken." "That is why that kind of tea set is no good," said Thelma. "The cups break and the saucers break and the teapot and the cream pitcher and the sugar bowl break, and then the set is all gone. My tea set has red flowers and it does not break unless you step on it." "Well," said Frances, "I'm saving up for the other kind." "How much have you saved up?" said Thelma. $2.17, said Frances. "How much does the tea set cost?" said Thelma. "I don't know," said Frances. "I'm sure they cost a lot," said Thelma. "It will take you a long time to save up all that money." "I know," said Frances, "and I wish I had a tea set now." "Maybe I will sell you mine," said Thelma. "I don't want yours," said Frances. "I want a real china one with pictures on it in blue." "I don't think they make them anymore," said Thelma. I know another girl who saved up for that tea set. Her mother went to every store and couldn't find one. Then that girl lost some of her money and spent the rest on candy. She never got the tea set. That is what happens. A lot of girls never do get tea sets. So maybe you won't get one. Real slick there, Thelma. I'll buy yours. I'm sorry. If I buy yours, I will have a tea set, said Frances. You said you didn't want it, said Thelma. And anyhow, I don't want to sell it now. Why not, said Frances. Well, said Thelma, it is a very good tea set. It is plastic and does not break. It has pretty red flowers on it. It has all the cups and saucers. It has the sugar bowl and cream pitcher and the teapot. It's almost new, and I think it costs a lot of money. I have $2.17, said Frances. That's a lot of money. I don't know, said Thelma. If I sell you my tea set, then I won't have one anymore. We can have tea parties at my house then, said Frances, and you can use the money for a new doll. Well, maybe, said Thelma. Do you have your money with you? I'll run home for it, said Frances. All right, said Thelma. I will think about it while you run home for your money. Frances ran home for her money. When she came back, Thelma said, I will sell you my tea set. Frances gave Thelma her money. Thelma gave Frances her tea set. No backsies on this, said Thelma. All right, said Frances. No backsies. Frances went home with her tea set and her dolls and sang a plastic teapot to pour tea for my dolls and friends and me. Just as well as china. Red is just as good as blue. Plastic cups are all right too, just as good as china. I don't know. I might like the china ones better. When Frances got home, she showed her tea set to her little sister Gloria. That is a very ugly tea set, said Gloria. What's the matter with it, said Frances. It's ugly, said Gloria. It's a nice tea set, said Frances. It's plastic, said Gloria. It has red flowers. It's ugly. I like the china kind, with the pictures all in blue. I agree with you, Gloria. You can't get that kind anymore, said Frances. They don't have them in the stores. Yes, they do, said Gloria. They have them now at the candy store. My friend Ida got one yesterday, and she showed it to Thelma. So Thelma knows that they have them at the candy store. They cost $2.07. Frances walked slowly to the candy store. She looked inside, and there was Thelma. Thelma gave the storekeeper her money. The storekeeper gave Thelma a china tea set with pictures all in blue. Thelma did not see Frances as Frances walked away. Frances sang a little song as she walked away. Now that plastic's what I've got, backsies are what there is not. Mother told me to be careful, but Thelma better be bewareful. Frances thought about no backsies all the way home. When she got home, she put a penny in the plastic sugar bowl of her tea set. Then she called Thelma on the telephone. "Hello," said Thelma. "Hello," said Frances. "This is Frances." "Remember," said Thelma, "no backsies." "I remember," said Frances. "But are you sure you really want no backsies?" I'm sure," said Thelma. "You mean I never have to give back the tea set?" said Frances. "That's right," said Thelma. "You can keep the tea set." Can I keep what is in the sugar bowl too?" said Frances. "What's in the sugar bowl?" said Thelma. "Never mind," said Frances. "No backsies. Goodbye." Frances hung up. Frances waited for the telephone to ring, and when it rang, she said, "Hello?" "Hello," said Thelma. "This is Thelma." "I know," said Frances. "I just remembered," said Thelma. "I think I had something in the sugar bowl. I think it was a ring. Did you find a ring?" "No," said Frances. "And I don't have to tell you what is in the sugar bowl because you said no backsies." "Well," said Thelma, "I just remembered that I put some money in the sugar bowl one time. I think it was some birthday money." Mhm. "I think it was $2, or maybe it was $5. Did you find money?" "You said no backsies," said Frances, "so I don't have to tell you. I don't have to say how much money is in the sugar bowl." "Well," said Thelma, "it is my money and I want it back." "Do you want backsies?" said Frances. "Do you want your tea set back? Or do you want your tea set back and you will give me my money back?" "I can't," said Thelma, "because I used the money for a new tea set. There is only a dime left over. I will give you the new tea set and the dime. The new tea set is the china kind you want. It has pictures all in blue. You said they don't make that kind anymore," said Frances. "This one was very hard to find," said Thelma, "and I think it was the very last one in the store." "All right," said Frances. "Bring it over." Thelma brought over the china tea set and the dime, and Frances gave back the plastic tea set. Then Thelma took the lid off the sugar bowl and saw a penny. That is not a very nice trick to play on a friend," said Thelma. "No," said Frances, "it is. And that was not a nice trick you played on me when you sold me your tea set." Mhm. "Well," said Thelma, "from now on, I will have to be careful when I play with you." Being careful is not as much fun as being friends," said Frances. "Do you want to be careful or do you want to be friends?" "I want to be friends," said Thelma. "All right," said Frances. "Then I will give you halfsies on the dime." Francis and Thelma went to the candy store with the dime. Francis bought bubble gum, and Thelma bought lifesavers. I love lifesavers. Then they went back to Francis's house to skip rope. Gloria came out to turn the rope and skip too. You and Gloria can skip first, said Francis to Thelma. I will go last. Thelma skipped first, then Gloria. Then Frances skipped as she sang, 1 for plastic, 2 for china, 3 for yours and 4 for mine, 5 for tea and 6 for cakes, 7 for elephants, 8 for snakes, 9's a trip to the candy store. Then comes 10 and 10 skips more. Backsies no, backsies 1, backsies 2. Backsies are no fun to do. Careful once, careful twice. Being careful isn't nice. Being friends is better. Then Francis and Thelma shared their bubblegum and lifesavers with Gloria. The end. A bargain for Francis. Well, what does that teach us about business? When someone tells you to be careful of who you're dealing with, this is for my young ones, my older young ones, my adult ones. When someone tells you to be careful, even if it's someone you know, you might want to take their advice. Because if it's happened once that they've kind of done you in, and it's happened twice, it's possible it can happen again. But this book also teaches you how to be a shrewd business person. Sometimes you have to think about, so how do I deal with this person in business? I've had this happen at my school. Say you have something for lunch, you have a snack, and your friend tells you, oh, I will share my snack with you tomorrow if you share your snack with me today. And what if they've done that one time or 2 times and then they never shared their snack? Should you keep sharing your snack with the promise of a share of their snack? Maybe not. Maybe you should say, well, I'll share my snack with you after you share your snack with me. Because I've shared a couple of times, or I've given you something a couple of times, and then you didn't return the favor when you said you would. The most important thing about this story is that in business or in friendship, you have to keep your word. If you say that you're going to do something, you have to be honest and you have to keep your word. That is the lesson in A Bargain for Francis. I'm so glad I got to read that book. That is a really good book. Really good. I wasn't quite sure if it was as good as I thought, but it turned out to be better than I thought. I'm very glad I got to read that with you all. Now, as you can hear, change in the ambiance. We are now ready for Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, meaning someone who sells things, some monkeys, and their monkey business, by Esfir Slobotkina. When was this book written? Let me see. Whoa! This book was first published in 1940. Wow, that is a long time ago. Caps for Sale. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He's pretty talented to be able to carry those all on his head now. He walked down the streets holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. Then he went along and called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." This was definitely 1940. 50 cents a cap? One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody even wanted a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said. And he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the trunk of the tree so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put his hand to feel if they were straight. First, his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. There they were all there. So he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. Take a look. Uh-oh. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his own checked cap. What happened to the rest of them? Let's see. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, no caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? I do not know. Let us find out. On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey sat a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. Oh boy. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. Let's find out what he said. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking his finger at them, "you give back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." This made the peddler angry. So he shook both hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you, give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their hands back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and said, "You monkeys, you, give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." By this time, the peddler was really, very, very angry. He stamped both feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you! You must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." Ooh, he must be boiling now. At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and threw it on the ground and began to walk away. So there's no point in this anymore. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. What do you think they did? And all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. That was a good, silly story. I'm glad I got to read this one all for you. So, when you are selling something, right, you gotta watch what you do with your stuff. If you just sit it down somewhere, somebody could take it. You gotta be careful. Little story. One time I was in a play, and the person who wrote the play said, "Be careful of where you leave the script, because somebody else could take it and make their own play and make money off of it. You gotta be careful with your really important stuff. If you have stuff to sell, you can't just sit it down any old place. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta watch what's going on." He should have paid attention. I understand. Oh my goodness. Whoever this user is, thank you so much. I have to remind you all, on StreamYard, I can't always see who you are. So please announce yourself, because on YouTube, when people come up in the chat, I can see who they are. On Facebook and some of the other platforms, I can't see who you are. But thank you so much for having some books for me. I will contact you so that I can get those books for all of us here to enjoy. Thank you so much. Well, you gotta watch how angry you get sometimes, because you gotta pay attention to what's going on. Thank you, Miss Brandy. This is one of my students' mom. Thank you so much. I will get in contact with you. So, thank you so much. Caps for Sale, really silly book, but it does teach a good lesson. Watch how you sit your stuff down. Anything that you think is important, especially if it's something that you have to sell, something that you know is expensive, you got to watch where you put your stuff. Somebody can come and swipe it. Maybe some crazy monkeys. Who knows? Okay. That's a lesson for me too. Let me tell you why. Because Miss Hope used to lose stuff all the time. All the time, Miss Hope would lose things when I was a young one. I would lose stuff all the time. I'd lose stuff in my house that I never found again. It was ridiculous. I've gotten better though. So, for those of you who lose things or who break things, which was a little bit of my problem too, because I was a little butterfinger, you might grow out of it, okay? There's hope for you yet, okay? Now, as you can see, the ambiance has changed. Who stole New Year's Eve? We got to find out. So, when we were last in the book, what chapter did we end on? We are now in chapter 7. Okay. So we found out that Yasmin's parents had a surprise for her. And the surprise was that her uncle, who also seems to work for the moving company, is a very skilled ice sculptor, and made an ice sculpture of her on a surfboard with her hair blowing in the wind that looked so realistic. People were like, wow, that is amazing. Okay. So everyone in the neighborhood came out to see it, except for Yasmin, who still is very upset, okay, with Miss Eve. And Alex is in the middle because he wants to be friends with both of them. And Yasmin has no plans on going to Eve's New Year's Eve birthday party. We'll see if maybe she'll come around, okay? We're continuing with chapter 7. All right. Oh, yes, we stopped where Yasmin was helping Alex to find a gift for Eve's birthday. And of course, Yasmin was like, oh, get her something from the bargain table. And finally, Alex was like, can I buy her a quality gift? I can do that. But Yasmin got upset and walked out of Mrs. Miggens' toy store. Like, I don't have to deal with this. This is where we pick up right now. My face felt hot. The rest of me felt terrible. Leo G came up and bumped my behind in sympathy, leaving a spot of drool on my jeans. Mrs. Miggens had been watching. Everything okay there, Alex? Now, can I help you out? Oh, sure, I said and explained what I was shopping for. Mrs. Miggens was less grumpy than usual, probably because the store was almost empty, minimizing any chance that something might get broken. Ah, I see, she said. You know, the Henry girl and her mom came in to shop for party favors. Very nice people. Yasmin might be afraid she'll lose you. Lose me, I repeated. I'm not going anywhere. It wasn't a joke, but Mrs. Miggens laughed. Then she had a good idea for a present. How about one of those light-up frisbees? Like the ones Sophie Sikora got you and the other kids for Christmas. I'll even wrap it in birthday paper for you. Dad picked me up on his way home from delivering pies. What happened to Yasmin? He asked. after I tossed the present in the car and climbed in beside him. I had just started to explain when we spotted someone wearing a purple coat on on the sidewalk ahead. Yasmin. Dad pulled the car over and rolled down the passenger window. Hey, Mrs. Pop, he said. May I offer you a lift? Yasmin looked across me at my dad. That's okay, Mr. Parakeet. I prefer to walk. Thank you very much, though. Dad tried to argue, but Yasmin wouldn't budge. Okay, he shrugged. Walk safely then. We both waved and he drove away. When we get home, I'll call her parents so they know what's up, he said. Boy, she must be mad. What did you do? Nothing. And thanks for thinking it's my fault. The rest of the way home, I finished explaining what happened. In our driveway, I added the crazy thing Mrs. Miggins had said about how Yasmin might be worried about losing me. I don't get it, I concluded. Dad turned the ignition switch off, sat for a second, and then looked over like he wanted to say something. I didn't give him a chance. You're not going to get all wise and parental on me, are you? Dad smiled. Parental, maybe. But I don't have a lot of wisdom to offer. Girls are tricky, Alex. And girls? I couldn't believe my dad. Who said this had anything to do with girls? Earth to Alex. Yasmin and Eve are girls. Only technically, I said. Dad grinned. Okay, have it your way. Hey, isn't there a bowl game we could watch this afternoon? I think I could use a break from making pies. Yasmin didn't call the rest of the day. I wasn't used to having her mad at me. And when I went to bed, I couldn't sleep. Finally, I raised myself up on my elbows and looked out the window. In the Henry's yard, I could see Ice Eve in front of the 5 golden rings, sparkling in colored lights. She didn't look creepy or zombie-like anymore. She looked pretty. Was Dad right? Did this thing with Yasmin and Eve and me have something to do with them being girls? It was all very confusing. Chapter 8. Mom opened the door the next morning before it was even light out. Alex, get up, honey. I need you. Something's happened at the Henrys. I rubbed my eyes and sat up, disturbing Luau, who jumped from bed to floor. Bump, then swished his tail and blinked. Well, and I was having such a lovely dream about herring. I know it's early. This was Mom's idea of an apology. And I'll meet you downstairs in 5. Mom closed the door. I counted to 3, swung my feet to the floor, stood up, put clothes on, splashed water on my face, and went downstairs, all without waking up. In the front hall, Mom looked at her watch and nodded. Impressive. But you might do something to your hair. You wouldn't want to scare anybody, would you? What's going on? I flattened my hair with one hand and grabbed my coat with the other. It's your day off, I thought. Mom pushed the front door open. Eve's gone. What? I hurried out behind her, and the cold air woke me at last. The sky was dark and cloudy. It was pale gray light at the horizon. Ice Eve, I mean, Mom clarified. Though when you think about it, that's even more mysterious. Eve the girl has working legs, while Eve the statue doesn't. By now, we were passing the Lees, geese a-laying, all present and accounted for. Next door in the Henry's yard, the rings were fine too. But Mom was right. Ice Eve was gone. Isn't it possible she disappeared into a puddle, I asked? Mom shook her head. It takes days to melt a big chunk of ice like that, even in summer. Our arrival at the Henry's Walk caused a yappy outburst from Marshmallow, who was peeking out the front window over the back of the sofa. Danger, danger, danger! Honestly, did that dog have bad eyesight or a bad memory? Mrs. Henry, Jessica, opened the door for Mom and me. Marshmallow had jumped off the sofa by now and was running zigzags in the front hall. When we walked in, he hid himself behind Mrs. Henry's feet and quivered. Thanks for coming over, Mrs. Henry said to Mom. Would you like a cup of coffee? Eve's in the dining room, Alex. The moms disappeared into the kitchen. I went to find Eve. She was sitting at the head of the table. She was still wearing pajamas. The lucky pup. Her chin was resting on her hand. It was the first time I'd ever seen her look sad. Hey, I sat down. What happened? Eve looked at me and made a face. I think it was supposed to be a smile, but it didn't work out so well. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, I said quickly. There's nothing to tell, Eve said. Somebody stole me. Stole Ice Eve, I mean. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but Yasmin and I, with help from Sophie and Luau and some other people, have solved 4 mysteries on our street. Not to brag, but we are actually kind of good at the whole detecting thing. So now, even though I felt bad for Eve, my professional skills kicked in. A case to solve meant questions to ask. When did you notice Ice Eve was missing? I said. Eve looked at me. Oh, wow. Is this like you're being a detective all of a sudden? That's my mom's job, I said modestly. But sometimes I do help her out. Yeah, I've heard, Eve said. There were stories in the newspaper, right? I even hoped maybe someday I'd get to help you and Yasmin solve a case. But I never wanted it to be my own case. Alex, I hate living here. The weather's cold, nobody likes me, and now somebody stole my birthday present. Chapter 9. This was awful. There were tears in Eve's eyes. Wasn't this a girl kind of conversation? Where was Yasmin when I needed her? Home in bed, probably. Even Yasmin didn't get up this early on vacation. I like you, I said, because I had to say something. I don't mean I like you, not the way some people mean like. Some girls mean like. I just like you, like not dislike. Does that make sense? Now Eve actually did smile. Yes, it does. Thanks. And I like you too. Meaning like the same way you mean like, I think. Now we were done with the awful part, right? So I tried again. When did you notice Ice Eve was missing? Eve thought for a second. I got up early because I knew Mom was making carrot muffins for breakfast. And I looked out the window and I saw the 5 gold rings, but not the statue. And the weird thing is, I didn't even think about it then. I guess you don't necessarily notice when something is gone the way you notice when something is there. Does that make sense? If you say so, I said. It wasn't till I got downstairs that my brain said, wait a sec. And I opened the front door and I looked out. That's when I really saw that Ice Eve was missing. It was still dark, but she was definitely gone. And what time was that? I asked. Maybe an hour ago, Eve said. I looked at my watch. It was only 7:45. So she was talking 6:45. And when did you last see the statue? I asked. Eve had to think before she spoke. When I went to bed last night, I looked out my window. The Christmas lights were still on and the music was playing. So it must have been before 11. when Professor Jensen turned all that off. Maybe 10 o'clock? I remembered seeing the statue last night too, probably around the same time. So the statue disappeared between 10 last night and 6:45 this morning, I said. But probably after 11, because whoever took it would have waited till the lights were off. Did you hear anything unusual during that time? Eve shook her head. I slept great. Well, my friends, now we find out the first mystery. Because if we know Miss Martha Freeman in these books, I'll be honest, I thought this was the second book. This is not the second book, but it doesn't matter because we will probably read some more of these because they're good, okay? But now we have found out what the first mystery is. No, actually, there's a mystery before that. The first mystery is, what is the secret ingredient that Professor Henry needs to produce gasoline? That's the first one. But the main mystery is, who stole Ice Eve? If you have ever seen an ice sculpture, they are heavy and they are big, okay? And if you can see it from across the street, it probably was pretty tall. So it was a huge ice sculpture, okay? Now, who could have stolen a huge ice sculpture of a girl on a surfboard with her hair blowing in the wind? Who could have stolen it? That is our first mystery, my friends, in the book. Who stole New Year's Eve? Well, my friends, we are at the end of another Miss Hope's Reading Hour. I'm so glad that I got to be here with you all on this wonderful Wednesday. I hope that you all have a very thankful Thursday, that there is something that you can be thankful for that happens throughout your Thursday. Aside from being thankful that you woke up another morning, okay? And I will see you back here on a fabulous Friday where we will find out some more clues. And if there are any other mysteries that are happening all at the same time in Who Stole New Year's Eve. With all of that being said, my friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being here and enjoying these books and this music with me. And I will see you right back here on a fabulous Friday on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. Until then, my friends, I will see you next time. Bye for now.